Hey, welcome everybody to the Mod Golf YouTube channel. My name is Colin Weston. I am the host of the Mod Golf podcast. And hey, we're starting season 9. Hard to believe we're right there. We're almost 100 episodes now. Getting excited about that. And today, my guest for episode 1 of season 9 is Dr. Greta Anderson, also known with her business, Dr. Greta Golf. So to get started here, Greta, thanks for joining me today on the Mod Golf podcast. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much for having me. I am doing great. So good to see you.
Good stuff. Good to see you too. So we talked earlier for the audio version, the long form podcast. Had a great conversation there. So we're going to talk about some different stuff here, because otherwise, why would people listen to both? We want to have our viewers here turn into listeners and our listeners into viewers,
Right.
and back and forth. That's what we do here. So we want to keep it engaging and keep it a bit fresh.
Sure.
So to start with this, well, let's start off with the basic thing. Can you give us the why? You're all about why. What is Dr. Greta Golf, and why did you create it?
I created it because I believe that, just in very simple terms, golf is I love it, right? Golf is great. Golf is even more fun when we are versed, when we know how to play, when we have a skill set, when we understand what's going on. It's just becomes even more fun. And so that's really what I want people to capture. And I have the ability to help people to make that marriage. And so that's what I do.
Fun. What a thing. Hold on. If golf is more fun and you shoot lower scores, you may enjoy it more and may actually play more. What a concept.
That a
I think
concept, right?
I think you're onto something here with a business model. So speaking about your business model, perhaps you can share with our viewers here what exactly you offer as far as the services and the value that you offer to your clients, and how you go about delivering that, especially now during COVID times.
Sure. I offer evidence-based, measurement-based instruction to help you become a great golfer. Now, that doesn't always mean that you and meet you wherever you are, because everyone's goals are not to go shoot a 65. It may be, hey, to get into the 18-hole league at my club, you have to be able to shoot, 110. Well, guess what? We're going to make sure that you can shoot 109. We're going to get you there. Whatever your goal is, I honor, I respect that. Your goals are your goals. We're going to work together. And as a coach, I may push you a little bit, but my presumption is not that everyone should be, trying to be the next Annika Sorenstam or the next Dustin Johnson, because that's not. And oftentimes, a little too much pressure can really drive someone out of the sport, particularly if there was a little trepidation on coming in, or if there's some scar tissue, because unfortunately, a lot of golfers, particularly women golfers, they have a little bit of scar tissue by the time they arrive on lesson tee.
Right, right. And your approach to golf, just like your approach to life that we talked about earlier, it's kind of your approach to business too, and with entrepreneurship. And I speak to a lot of entrepreneurs, and they all have this big vision. They want to dominate the world. They want to scale this thing up and be this multi-million dollar company, rather than, you know what, set those first goals and celebrate those small wins. So perhaps you can talk a bit about that, of how, with your clients and yourself personally, how you go about celebrating those small wins and setting those reachable goals through actionable conduct.
Right. I believe that, goals are set stepping stones, and we could all create a ton of goals, but really it's intention. And I've been, two words that I have stuck on to a mirror in my bathroom. It says intention, attention, because it's a constant reminder of, we pay attention to what's intentional in our lives. And so we have to do that. We don't have to, but I choose to do that at a very granular level with my clients, because essentially that's what they're paying for, but that's my pleasure to do. And that is the differentiator. Yes, there are many great instructors and many great professionals that can help you get the ball going, but I believe that golf is so much more than that, and can represent so much more than that. And it does for so many people, that I try to really zero in and hone in on what resonates with you. And then we build from that.
Nice, nice. So as an LPGA professional instructor, what do you see most often, especially with new golfers? And I'm sure you're now getting a lot of new golfers that
Yes.
come to you that you didn't have pre-COVID back in how life used to be. So where do you start with them so that they feel more welcome and inviting? You mentioned scar tissue also. Some of them may have had a bad experience,
Yeah.
especially African American golfers. A lot of them have had negative experiences,
Right.
usually on the
Right.
side of whether it's just blatant racism and just not being
Or the subtle. Sometimes the subtle can be even more insulting.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that a bit. How do you start then with someone that has a blank piece of paper in front of them as a golfer? Where do you start building confidence and start to get those small wins?
Right. I start when someone is brand new on the lesson tee. Usually, I've interacted with them. It's usually, at some point, whether it's been an email or some texting or even a phone call, we've probably had some interaction. But let's just say we have not. That doesn't matter. I want them to see me face to face, and I want to say this. I say this: welcome to golf. We are so glad to have you. You belong right here. You have found the perfect spot. Let's get it.
Love that. That's you just crushed that tagline. That's
Yeah.
welcome to golf. Boom. Done.
Right.
And
Right.
that's that power of invitation that I know Sandy Cross with the
Exactly.
PGA of America,
Exactly.
she mentions, what does she say? Also mentions, in order to be one, you've got to see one. So I'm sure
Right.
with yourself as an example, as an ambassador for the game, that a lot of people, especially Black women, feel
Yeah.
comfortable. They look at you rather than if they're on a lesson tee with me. Not that I'm in any position to teach anybody with my 14 handicap, but let's say I could. It's a complete disconnect, right? Because
It can be a complete disconnect, but I also, even for a player who's on my lesson tee who doesn't look anything, may look more like you. I explain to them like, yes, I have spent a lot of time and still spend a lot of time studying the game of golf so that I can make it easier for you. That's my job. But I also like them to know that, this is an approachable sport and it's full of people with flaws and problems too. I mean, oftentimes I'll hold up my wrist so people can see. It's really hard to see on camera, but this tremendous scar that goes down my wrist that definitely affects my wrist flexion. It affects it. I just had, I was limping and gimping for like 6 months. I could hardly walk, but I was on the lesson tee. I could still swing the club and move, but I let people know I didn't hide it because this is life. And if we're all fortunate to live long enough, some of these things, hopefully not, a bad hip where you need a hip replacement, but some things come into play and that's okay. You don't have to be perfect to be a golfer. You don't have to be in perfect shape to be a golfer, because if you're working with someone who knows the game and is passionate about it, as I tell everyone, there's a swing for everybody. There's a swing for everybody. So whether or not you're one of my clients and have it, she's 89 years old, her hip is literally calcified. She cannot turn, but she plays golf. We get that ball out there.
love
We
it.
picked up yardage, by the way.
What?
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
So
yeah.
good.
You
So good.
know, so it just works.
It just works. Just works. Make it welcoming, and it just works.
It
And
works.
you did mention your hand. We don't want to have a spoiler
Yeah,
here. You shared the story on the podcast of you grew up playing right-handed, and you played competitive professional tennis, and developed nerve damage in your hand and
yeah,
multiple
yeah.
surgeries, and had to start from zero again. And you actually, so we're not going to do spoilers. We
Right,
encourage all of
right,
our viewers out
right.
there to go listen to that unbelievable conversation there. Of you actually had to bring everything right down, basically knock everything down and build everything up from scratch. And you shared with us your first score ever as a
Yeah,
left-handed golfer, which you're going to have to go listen to the podcast in order to find that out. But the score is
right,
ridiculous. If
right.
I would have shot that, I would have never played golf again. I would have just said,
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah,
My ego can't
yeah,
handle this. I
yeah,
am done. But you
yeah.
showed, as you said, which are such great characteristics and necessary characteristics for entrepreneurs and for people in sport and also in life, just as human beings, as far as empathy, curiosity, and tenacity. And I think those three are ones that you have in spades. So perhaps you can elaborate a little bit on what those three character traits mean to you.
They mean um, fluidity. I'm willing to do and make the adjustments to get through life gracefully. If you said, 25, just to say 20, 25 years ago, probably the same Greta, the essence of me, same person, but a totally different package in terms of the mix. And those are things that I've learned and developed to navigate through life to help make me a better person and hopefully to contribute. But I look at things with such gratitude. I mean, like, I have an awesome job. Like this, I have an awesome job. My days are cool. I get to be around people when they're happy. Golf is fun. No, everyone doesn't get to say that they're around people and they have a chance to make them even more happy.
You mentioned, you tied all that together there with having a sense of grace and thankfulness and gratitude. And I've been talking to people about that a lot. And it's like, what are you grateful for today? And some people's like, oh, I don't really know. Nothing. It's like, even, I know I'm on the West Coast here, so I don't want to get too zenny or flaky about it, but it's like, maybe it's just, you just had a great cup of coffee this morning.
Right.
It could be something as simple. It doesn't have to be something massively life-changing or earth-altering. It's like, just celebrate, something small that you're grateful for. The fact you've got, family that love you, and it could be whatever that is, right? It's something that is just positive in your life, right? And the fact that through the work that we do, we have the great good fortune of being able to stay safe and not being on the front line, as so many people that we're so grateful that do the work day in and day out that they do across the world and across the country. And we've got so much to be grateful for. It sounds like you express gratitude every single day.
Yeah, I'm so grateful. So today I had not been at the facility for a while. I mentioned that I've been out. I got a new hip, and so I've been away from the lesson tee. And today it was just great. One of those things that we talk about when you're grateful for it. The entire staff. I mean, I pulled into the parking lot and they were just like, Greta, it was so nice. I'm like, we have just a great staff and a great, in a great environment and full of golfers, people just happy to, even in these tenuous times with the pandemic and everything, that they have this outlet. I'm watching the kids, getting ready for high school tryouts. It's just, I'm like, this is just great.
Nice. And as humans, we are hardwired to have those in real life, in person interactions. That's the way we're built. And so this is tough on us. So, and golf actually provides that too. You can go for a 4-hour walk with someone and just have a conversation, whether you've never met them before or one of your best friends or your dad, in your case, who still plays golf.
Exactly.
And
or my mom is sneakily speaking, I think my mom during league season, my mom may play more than my dad. She plays a lot.
Really?
And she tries to say, oh, I'm just the casual golfer, but
she's one of those, is she?
One of those, and she's one of those, like, you never have to look for her because she's always in the middle of the fairway.
She's an assassin. She'll stick that dagger in, will she?
Sharp shooter. Right. I go
Nice.
like, I don't want to hear this. Oh, I'm just no, stop that now.
Nice. So, hey, just to wrap up here, because I don't want to take too much of your time here, because of course we've got all kinds of other great things we talked about on the podcast episode. So in your life as a business person and entrepreneur, who's inspired you personally, just as far as a mentor or someone who could be in golf or sport or just in life? Because we all need those, right? And as entrepreneurs, people even thinking about entrepreneurship, you don't go alone. And there's that saying that if you want to go fast, you go alone, but if you want to go far, you need to go together. And you don't just start with a blank piece of paper in front of you to try to come up with something new. It's as far as being inspired by other things. So perhaps you can provide, as we finish up here, Greta, a couple of those things of mentors, inspirations with your business life.
Yeah, several people have been pivotal, let me get it right, pivotal in my life in terms of helping me to determine the course of what I wanted to do. One of the things, I had a professor, and I remember when I was kind of vacillating about just, kind of the start of things, what should I do? Should I, try to find a job, or should I go to graduate school? Because I've always been naturally curious, and I knew that social scientific inquiry was really interesting to me. And I guess I'd been going back and forth forever. And finally, one day, I remember he said, there's not really a question. The question is, are you willing to take the next step? And I was like, well, wow, that's kind of deep. And, so that kind of gave me permission. I'm abbreviating the story there, but it really gave me permission to be okay with the fact that I'm curious, and I wanted to develop the tool set to really maximize my curiosity. I've always embraced it, So that was number one. In the big picture, I mean, people that know me know that, I think the world of my family. And one of the things that I love the most, my dad, I'm very much like my father in many ways, as people say, whether good or bad in some instances, I guess, but way more good than bad. And one of the things I love most is that he's always, he will say, like, I haven't always understood what your vision is, but it's your vision. And so I want you to embrace it. And to the absolute best of my family's ability, they've always supported that, because people think, okay, well, you went to school and you did this. This is supposed to be the linear path. And I just never really wanted the linear path. And though it may not have been what they were thinking or whatever, they've always been there to say, go forth and do great things. And so with that support, I've really, kind of thrived and been okay with building. And everything you build doesn't work. Entrepreneurs know, for everything you build, there are probably 4 or 5 that didn't quite go the way you wanted them to. And you have to be willing to step out on faith and be a little bit fearless. And so I'm pretty good at that now. I won't say I don't think twice about it, but I'm much more comfortable with it than I was in the beginning. Yes. But I was given that permission and encouragement to spread my little wings and fly. So that's a big deal.
I love that. And you get that encouragement and through mentors and people that have helped you along the way. Not only do they want to encourage you, and that's not a matter of coddling you, but also sometimes they need to challenge you and they need to force you to stretch, right? And that's part of the thing. And as we say in entrepreneurship, and you're certainly doing this, and let's say where you are now as compared to where you were 5 years ago, it hasn't been a straight line. Entrepreneurship never is, but you need to become comfortable feeling uncomfortable, right? There's a difference between, and I learned this through yoga, right? It's not about pain. Pain's not good. Right? But discomfort is, because discomfort means things are changing, things are growing, things are evolving. Something's happening inside there. Right. So
willing to sit in that. Yes.
Yes. So uncomfortable's okay. Pain, not so much.
Okay. Yes.
There we go. So, hey, to wrap this up here, because I know you've expanded your business model with COVID now, that you don't have to be in the greater Atlanta area to have a teaching lesson with you. You can be anywhere in the world, like someone in India. I think you said you've got a client right now. So if anybody's out there watching this, it's like, I got to find out more about what Dr. Greta Golf's all about. Where is the best places for them to go to find out more about you and what you do?
You can always find me at on my website, drgretagolf.com. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook at Dr. Greta Golf is my handle. And if you want to drop me an email, just say hello at drgretagolf.com and I'll get that.
Nice and simple. In the show notes here, we'll include all those links, including also as far your Instagram. You're very active on there, providing incredible content on there to help people along. You just give, you put it out there and the universe gives back to you. And I think you're just getting started here. You're doing awesome stuff.
I sure hope so. It's fun. So yeah, we've got lots more to do. So I'm hoping so.
Yeah, well, I look forward to because I'm up in Canada here, so when they open up that border, whenever that is, I get back down to the States, I would love to have the opportunity to meet you, whether it's in Atlanta or whether it's at the PGA show one of these years.
Exactly. Let's plan for it. Let's do it.
And maybe you can figure out some way to analyze and measure my mediocre swing. And we'll go from there.
I'm sure you're being a little harder on yourself than one, but I am happy to help. That's what I do.
Love it. Dr. Greta Anderson, this has been amazing. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Colin. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Bye now.
Bye-bye.